Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Autumn is here, and for many of us gardeners, that means it's time to grab our tools and get the garden ready for winter. We're busy tidying up, mulching, and of course, pruning. But hold on a second. Before you start snipping away at everything in sight, you need to know that not all plants benefit from an autumn trim. In fact, for some of them, pruning at this time of year can do much more harm than good. You could be sacrificing next year's beautiful blooms or even damaging the plant's health. So, put down those shears for a moment and join me as we explore 5 common plants that gardening experts agree you should absolutely not prune in the fall. Getting this right is the key to a spectacular garden next spring, and I'm here to make sure you have all the information you need. First on our list is a real garden favorite, Forsythia. You know the one I mean. That incredible shrub that bursts into a glorious display of bright yellow flowers, often being the very first sign that spring has truly arrived. It's like a beacon of sunshine after a long, grey winter. Now, the reason we don't prune Forsythia in the autumn is all about how and when it develops its flow. Our buds. Forsythia is a classic example of a shrub that blooms on old wood. This means the flowers you'll see next spring are actually formed on the branches that grew during this past summer. If you go in and prune it back in the fall, you're essentially cutting off all of those dormant flower buds. You're literally snipping away next year. A spectacular floral show before it even has a chance to begin. So, when is the right time? The golden rule for Forsythia is to prune it immediately after it has finished flowering in the spring. This gives the plant the entire growing season, all of summer and early autumn, to produce new growth, which will then develop the flower buds for the following year. This simple timing trick ensures you get that amazing explosion of yellow every single time. Next up, let's talk about lilacs. Oh, the scent of lilac in late spring is just heavenly, isn't it? It's one of those classic garden fragrances that brings back so many memories. Just like Forsythia, lilacs also bloom on old wood. Those beautiful, fragrant flower clusters you look forward to every year develop on the growth from the previous season. So, if you prune your lilac bushes in the autumn, you're making the same mistake. You'll be cutting away all the potential for those gorgeous and aromatic blooms. Imagine the disappointment of having a lilac bush that produces lots of green leaves, but very few, if any, flowers. That's often the result of ill-timed pruning. The best time to prune your lilacs is, again, right after they finish their flowering cycle in late spring or early summer. You typically have a window of about 2 to 3 weeks. Pruning at this time encourages the plant to put its energy into producing new growth that will mature over the summer and carry the buds for next year's fragrant display. It also allows you to shape the bush and improve air circulation without sacrificing the very thing we love most about them, the flowers. Moving on to number 3, we have the magnificent rhododendrons and their close cousins, azaleas. These evergreen and deciduous shrubs are prized for their stunning, often massive, trusses of flowers that come in a rainbow of colors. They are the absolute showstoppers of the late spring garden, and you've probably guessed the pattern by now. Rhododendrons and azaleas also bloom on old wood. The flower buds for next spring's display are set during the late summer and early autumn of the current year. They sit there, tiny and dormant, all through the winter, just waiting for the right moment to burst open. If you take your pruners to them in the fall, you'll be removing every single one of those buds. There's really no way around it. A fall pruning guarantees a flowerless spring for these shrubs. The proper time to prune rhododendrons and azaleas is right after they have finished blooming. This allows you to deadhead the spent flowers, which encourages the plant to focus on vegetative growth rather than seed production, and it gives them plenty of time to set buds for the following year. Be gentle and only prune what's necessary to maintain shape and size. Now for something a little different, climbing hydrangeas. Not to be confused with some other types of hydrangeas, the climbing variety. Hydrangea onomalopeteolaris is a fantastic vine that can cover walls and structures with lush green foliage and delicate lace-cap flowers in the summer. They are a wonderful way to add vertical interest to your garden. But, you guessed it, they bloom on old wood. The flower buds are formed on the woody stems that grew in previous seasons. Pruning this vine in the autumn is a recipe for a flowerless wall next summer. You'll be cutting off all the productive wood that has been preparing to give you that beautiful display. The only pruning you should ever consider doing in the fall is to remove any clearly dead, damaged, or diseased stems. Any structural or shaping pruning should wait until after the plant has flowered in the summer. This approach ensures you don't accidentally remove the very parts of the plant that are going to produce those lovely flowers. So, unless a stem is broken or looks unhealthy, just leave your climbing hydrangea alone until next year. Finally, let's discuss fruit trees, specifically ones like peaches, plums, and cherries. These are known as stone fruits. While it might seem logical to tidy them up in the fall after the harvest, it's actually one of the worst times to prune them. Pruning creates open wounds on the tree. In the spring and summer, the tree is actively growing and can heal these wounds relatively quickly. However, in the autumn and winter, the tree is going into dormancy, and its healing processes slow down dramatically. These open pruning cuts become perfect entry points for fungal and bacterial diseases, like silver leaf disease, which can be devastating and even kill the tree. The cool, damp conditions of autumn are ideal for these pathogens to thrive. So, when should you prune them? Best time to prune stone fruit trees is in late spring or early summer, when the weather is warmer and drier. The tree is in a state of vigorous growth and can seal off wounds much more effectively, protecting itself from infection. This summer pruning also helps manage the tree's size and allows sunlight to reach the ripening fruit, leading to a better harvest the following season. So there you have it, 5 plants you should definitely keep your pruners away from this autumn. Forsythia, lilacs, rhododendrons, and azaleas, climbing hydrangeas, and stone fruit trees like peaches and plums. The common thread for most of these is that they bloom on old wood, and a fall pruning session will simply remove next year's flowers. For fruit trees, it's about avoiding disease. Gardening is so often about timing, and knowing when to act is just as important as knowing how. By waiting until the correct time to prune, usually right after they flower, you'll be rewarded with healthier plants and a much more beautiful and productive garden next year. So this fall, relax a little, enjoy the changing colors, and give these specific plants a well-deserved rest. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more gardening tips and tricks. Happy gardening, and we'll see you in the next video.